As usual, the new AP poll is out, and obviously, since the college football playoff committee isn't doing their thing yet, this is still what we go by. The whole poll come out, but I normally only go over like the top 10 or 12 or whatever. We'll just do the top 10 tonight, like normal. I'll start with 10, work my way down. I'm doing this Sunday evening. You're not seeing it till Monday, so I don't want to confuse anybody with the night references or whatever. But coming in at number 10, Iowa State, falling down one. They had that win against Central Florida at the end, a close win kind of at the end of the game. They struggled when obviously a lot of people didn't think they should have, and it was kind of a head scratcher. And we've already seen in weeks past that you can win a game and fall in the polls. A lot of these voters, especially in the AP poll, I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes winning isn't enough. Now you've got to win, but if you win and look bad, they have no problems checking you down a couple of spots, and that's what happened to Iowa State in this situation. Clemson comes in at number 9, coming up one from number 10 with their win over Virginia. Um, LSU stayed right where they were at 8 with their win over Arkansas, which that was a great game. We're really looking forward to the LSU Texas A&M game this weekend. That game, and this isn't being said yet. I'm probably one of the first, but you may hear this repeated in other places. This LSU Texas A&M game coming up next weekend has SEC championship game implications. Um, a lot of people would say, and I would kind of, being realistic, I would tend to agree that as far as like a mid-season prediction, if you will, uh, right now I'm going to say, like a lot of other people, that the SEC championship game is going to be between Georgia and the winner of the LSU Texas A&M game. I think. So we'll see. That'll be a great game coming up this weekend. But LSU number 8, like I said, with their win over Arkansas. Tennessee comes up 4 spots to number 7 from number 11 with their win over Alabama. That's kind of been talked about, like crazy. So, but that's where we landed. I predicted that we would land somewhere between 7 and 9 with that win. But like I said, we were 11 um, before the Alabama game. So coming in 7 is about where I thought they would. So that's, I mean, obviously fair. Kind of where, like I said, I figured them somewhere between 7 and 9. Um, Number 6, Miami stayed right where they were at number 6 with their win over Louisville. And some people would say that, Miami, they were another team that won but didn't look that great. Now, Cam Ward looked amazing. Um, but just the whole game, as a package or whatever, there was more points scored overall in that game than I would have predicted. But Miami stays at number 6 with their win over Louisville. Texas fell 4 spots from number 1 to number 5 with their loss to Georgia. And again, that's another game that's kind of been talked to death. I even did a little bit of a reaction video, so you can go and check that out. But yeah, a tough loss at home in front of that crowd, and Texas fans are saying the referees were on Georgia's side. Georgia's fans are saying the referees were on Texas's side. That's kind of neither here nor there, but yeah, because that game really kind of looked one-sided. Georgia's defense showed up to play, and Texas didn't really have an answer for it. They really didn't. So they fall 4 spots to number 5 from number 1. Ohio State was on their bye week, stayed at number 4. Penn State was on their bye week, stayed at number 3. Fair enough. Those teams have looked good so far during the season, so not much, call or reason to really kind of shake it up. But this next one, I was kind of surprised, and I'm sure Georgia fans are probably some of them are probably fighting mad over it. Georgia comes up 3 spots to number 2 with their win over Texas. Um, it is what it is. I don't know why. I guess it probably literally came down to, specific votes, obviously, for the top spot, which was Oregon. Oregon come in at number 1, coming up 1 spot with their win over Purdue. So, yeah, me along with everybody else in the country had um, Georgia predicted to be number 1 after the win over number 1 Texas. But I guess just as an overall body of work for the season, they just like Oregon for number 1 right now, with Oregon being undefeated and Georgia has the one loss to Alabama from a couple of weeks ago. So, and that would be, enough reason from most voters, I'm sure, as far as why they put Georgia second and Oregon 1. So there it is. That's the new top 10. Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas, Miami, Tennessee, LSU, Clemson, and Iowa State. Um, Again, I say this every week, but it's really the truth. Really good games coming up this weekend. I don't think we're going to have a bad weekend of games from now to the end of the season, and then when the playoffs start, it's going to be like a whole new season all over again, just right by itself. So the playoffs are going to be great. A little bit of news though. We have kind of officially arrived at that time of year where teams are going to start making some changes with their staff, and it's happened. Announced, I believe, earlier today, and y'all have probably already seen this. Oklahoma has fired their offensive coordinator, Seth Luttrell, and they've basically promoted Joe John Finley, who I believe was kind of like a co-offensive coordinator, but I'm not really sure. But they promoted him to play calling, and he'll take over the offense going from here on out. But yeah, Oklahoma deciding to part ways with their offensive coordinator. And then, kind of lesser known or whatever, getting down into the group of 5 um, schools out of the Sun Belt. It was announced earlier today that USM, the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, has fired their head coach Will Hall after, I think he's been there I think this was his 3rd or 4th season with Southern Miss. He was an alumni there. He played. They brought him back because they were in need of a coach. Like I said, several years ago, but just hasn't gotten it done, and they decided to go ahead and part ways with him, and the offensive coordinator is going to be taking over just the rest of the season at USM. So yeah, there's probably been more, by the time this video comes out, or I may have just flat missed one, but that I've heard of so far. Oklahoma has fired their offensive coordinator, and USM Southern Miss has fired their head coach. So we'll be back soon. In the next day or two, we'll start previewing some of the games coming up. Um, and I didn't really think I would kind of get on this subject, but I've got kind of an angle that might be interesting. Some coaches on the hot seat. Um, I'm going to talk about a few coaches that I believe are on that I know are on the hot seat now. That back at the beginning of the season, there was no talk of it. They weren't, these two coaches of these two particular schools weren't anywhere around the hot seat discussion. I don't believe, but so I may take a look at that and kind of see where those two schools may be going. But thanks for checking out the video. Hit the like button if you will. That really helps the channel out and helps push these videos out. We'll see you next time.